Welcome to our gathering today at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Stockton. We're glad you have joined us and hope you will find here what you are seeking. This is our coming out day service, which is a little strange to do without others here, but we still feel like we have something to offer. We are a community of individuals holding many different beliefs, coming from many different places, and each progressing on our own journeys of life and faith. We join together in our commitment to care for humanity and in our effort to shape a better, healthier, more accepting, more inclusive, and more hopeful world. We promise to accept and encourage all those persons of goodwill who gather here, recognizing that we all continue to grow and learn throughout our lifetimes. We especially welcome and stand with LGBTQ persons, even as we seek to welcome all persons of every age, ability, status, color, and ethnicity. We strive to make our community a place of peace and acceptance, love and nurture, even as we challenge ourselves and others to live more faithfully according to the values of Unitarian Universalism.
Fragment by Nicole Cozier. Nicole Cozier, who leads diversity and equity and inclusion efforts at HRC, doesn't remember exactly what brought her love of poetry. Reading and writing poetry is something that has always been a part of her. It feels like it's been a fixture for a long time, says Cozier. I've been writing poetry in some capacity for as long as I can remember. For Cozier, poetry is a medium that can serve many uses, personally in how we relate to each other and in social justice. When Cozier first began coming out and exploring her own identity as a queer Black woman, she was able to express herself to find community and feel validated through poetry. Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman is one poem that particularly spoke to her. As a Black woman growing up in an environment that did not value the standards of beauty, strength, and power of Black women, having that articulation of what it meant to be extraordinary, or in this case phenomenal, was groundbreaking in many ways, Cozier said. Cozier also found community through group poetry spaces in Washington, D.C., such as Mother Tongue, where women and LGBTQ people would come together to share poetry through open mic nights. There was something about hearing people share their own vulnerabilities and their own transformation. There was an arc in the poetry of realization that just gave me a sense of community, even if I did not know that person. Finding threads she could identify with in other people's poetry and writing helped her to figure out her own intersectional identities. Cozier sees poetry as a powerful vehicle for people to understand themselves and others because it inherently makes the writer and the reader vulnerable. That's also why Cozier sees poetry as a valuable tool for social justice and inclusion. Art has always permeated social movements. The creative space connects us in a unique way. It's a different part of our brain that we're engaging, a different part of our spirit and our sense of self. And it allows people to connect with each other's humanity, Cozier said. I think that it is also the core of our social justice work. How do we get vulnerable with each other, and how do we connect through that vulnerability and build a sense of solidarity, even across the realities of the differences in our experience? As we close out this year's Poetry Month, Cozier also shares what the month means to her. Poetry is, in many ways, the ultimate artistic manifestation of diversity, she said. It can take so many forms and touch us in so many ways. So the idea of having time to reflect and appreciate, that is just lovely. Kosher has also found that poetry can be a powerful way to build connections in the workplace. Sharing her experience with colleagues through her poetry has been one way that she's grown and become closer to her coworkers. One of her poems that has invited others to learn about her and her experience is Fragments. And here it is. Fragments by Nicole Kosher. I move through the world in fragments, tripping over parts of myself along the way. As each fragment jockeys for recognition, validation, and acceptance, I learn to quiet their clamoring voices like a nervous parent quiets an exuberant child calling too much attention to itself. I contort my pieces to fit into spaces that are clearly not meant for me. The discomfort means I cannot stay long. At the end of the day, I do a roll call to ensure that all my fragments are accounted for and none have been left behind. A comrade asks, "Who would you be in a world without oppression?" I answer, "Whole." Chalice Lighting Words by Bob Marley. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. As it was in the beginning, one love. So shall it be in the end, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel all right.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
And now the words of affirmation. The children generally say I don't know, is that Times New Roman, point 12 font? And adults do the italics. But however you are feeling, whichever words speak to you, it can be all. Say them loud, say them proud. Children, ready, begin. We believe in love.
Love is the only thing of this church.
We believe in truth. The quest for truth is a sacrament. We believe in helping others, and the service is our prayer. We believe in the sacredness of life, to dwell together in peace, seek knowledge and freedom, serve humanity in fellowship, and cherish the earth and its creatures,
Michael and Me by Margaret Baker Street. My name is Brian and I'm in Miss Brown's second grade class. I am big and strong like a superhero. I play football, army men, and race cars. I'm just like the other boys in my class. Well, almost just like the other boys. On our first day of school, my friend Cassie, who was in my class last year, came to school and she looked just like a boy. Last year, she had long brown hair that she wore in a ponytail. Now she has short hair like me and the other guys. Last year, she wore pink and purple clothes, sometimes shirts with flowers on them. Now she wears t-shirts, blue jeans, and sneakers every day. Last year, we called her Cassie because that was her name. But now Miss Brown calls her Michael, and she calls her a him. Most of the kids laughed at Miss Brown when she did that, but not Cassie, not Miss Brown, and not me. Most of the kids said mean things to Cassie because of the new way that she looked, but Miss Brown didn't, and I didn't either. I was confused. I had a lot of questions. Did Cassie turn into a boy over the summer? Will I turn into a girl over the next summer? Was Cassie pretending to be a boy for a little while? Was Cassie a boy this whole time and pretending to be a girl last year? My head was spinning. I walked all the way home thinking and trying to figure things out. My mom says that the smartest people always get lots of information before they make a judgment, which means to decide how they feel about something. So I decided to ask one of the smartest people I know, my mom. When I got home, I told my mom all about my day and that now Cassie was Michael. I asked my mom how that could happen. I asked my mom if Cassie was a different person now. My mom brought me milk and a cookie and said, let's talk about this and find out as much as we can about the whats and the whys. My mom told me that Cassie was transgender. I didn't know what that was. I couldn't even spell it. My mom said that sometimes when people are born a girl, they don't feel like a girl. Sometimes when they are born a boy, they don't feel like a boy. Boy or girl means gender. My mom said that when you can't be who you really feel you are, it can make you sad or uncomfortable. My mom told me that when some people feel that way, they can choose to live as the other gender. They have the choice to change how they look to themselves and other people. Trans means change. When you put it together, you get transgender. Now I've got it. Cassie didn't feel right being a girl. She wasn't comfortable because inside she was a boy. Now I call Cassie Michael. Michael and I hang out a lot now. He has awesome video games and our moms take us to see all the superhero movies. Michael is my best friend. I helped the other kids at school understand what transgender means so that they can get to know Michael too. After the other kids understood what transgender was, they didn't laugh anymore and they didn't say mean things. I think that's because no one wants someone to not be who they really are. It didn't change the way Michael sleeps or eats or the way his heart beats, but it did change the way his heart feels. He's just Michael, and that's all you need to know to be his friend too.
Would you harbor me? Would I harbor you? Would you harbor me? Would I harbor you? Would you harbor a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a heretic, convict, or spy? Would you harbor a runaway woman or child?
At this time in our service, we light candles of joy and concern to share those things which are going on in our lives that we'd like to share with the community. I haven't received many requests of late, but I'm going to light some general candles. One for all those who are struggling with COVID-19. One for those who have been suffering from the racial injustice in our country. One for those who are suffering from recent fires in our state. One more for all those other things that are going on, both the joys and the concerns that we've been unable to celebrate. I'm going to light just one more for those people who might come out today. On this Coming Out Day 2020, we particularly direct our thoughts and prayers toward all those persons who have found and are finding the courage to come out of the closet to reveal their true selves. We welcome and support all those LGBTQIAA persons who have taken the risk to live lives that are fully real. We promise that we will welcome each person as they are, while keeping sacred the identities they reveal here in case they may not be out in some other sectors of their lives. In this service, we renew our congregational pledge to be welcoming and supportive to all LGBTQIAA persons, accepting and including all into our religious community. So shall it be. Amen. Invite us now to join in singing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Responsive reading number 597, Love versus Hate, by Dhammapada. Never does hatred cease by hating in return. Only through love can hatred come to an end. Victory breeds hatred. The conquered dwell in sorrow and resentment. They who give up all thought of victory or defeat may be calm and live happily at peace. Let us overcome violence by gentleness. Let us overcome evil by good. Let us overcome the miserly by liberality. Let us overcome the liar by truth.
At this time in our service, we generally accept gifts and offerings, and since we're not able to meet in person yet, anyone who would like to share a gift or offering or send in a pledge to support this congregation is invited to do so by sending them to our church office, 2737 Pacific Avenue, Stockton, California, 95204. Thank you.
Imagine there's no heaven,
try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Coming Out Day. On this Coming Out Day 2020, we start by acknowledging the strangeness of inviting people to come out while we are not here together. We usually invite people to celebrate those coming out by joining in a procession through our rainbow doorway. Even in this strange year of COVID-19, masks, and social distancing, we recognize that many persons in our broader community will find that they need to come out in order to live fully and authentically. Over the last 3.5 years, the acceptance that many LGBTQIAA persons had felt under President Obama has been eroded under the current national leadership. Even so, many persons continue to reach a point at which they cannot live fully without acknowledging who they really are. Others who have come out previously have found that they cannot and will not go back to keeping their true sexuality or gender orientation in a closet. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we are committed to welcoming, accepting, including, supporting, and affirming the true selves of all who gather here. By our service today, even in these strange times, we reaffirm our commitment to be a welcoming congregation to the LGBTQIAA community of persons. So what does it mean to come out under what many of us hope will be near the end of the Trump regime? Many of the protections for LGBTQIAA persons put in place under President Obama have been rolled back. Racism, sexism, homophobia, and heterosexism have been widely resurgent under Trump. Trans individuals have again been widely targeted during the Trump years. I wish our welcoming could do more than protect LGBTQIAA persons within our walls and groups. Our pledge of support does include efforts to stand with those who are at risk, but many of us are older and frail, and even our best intentions cannot protect all persons from the resurgence of prejudice and hatred. We do promise to do all we can to support you through whatever hardships may come. We affirm the importance of coming out and being real, even in these difficult times. I wish that homosexuality, transgender self-realizations, and two-spirited experiences were better accepted generally, but unfortunately, Christianity and Islam particularly have been less accepting than Jesus or Mohammed. As even Jimmy Carter has mentioned, some Christian groups have made their moral stand upon more than one matter about which Jesus said nothing, specifically homosexuality and abortion. Fortunately, they haven't been worrying about one or two matters Jesus did mention, divorce and adultery. As Unitarian Universalists, we find wisdom in the teachings of many traditions, but are not bound by any of the current orthodoxies. We have benefited for decades from the involvement of many LGBTQIAA persons and couples in our congregations and within our UU professional religious leadership. From our LGBTQIAA members and friends, we have learned how important it is to have a safe space in which to be themselves. We have welcomed adults and youth who were thrown out of their homes and who have lost jobs because they tried to come out or were living as their true selves. We have welcomed in many people who have not been welcomed by other religious communities and have sought to provide a safe space for all those persons struggling with family and work situations where they are not accepted or where they fear they will be judged or ostracized if they come out. Unitarian Universalism has a long history as a community of nonconformists, and both sides of our tradition were labeled heretical by Orthodox Christianity. In many ways, that helped us to grow to be more welcoming to others and more accepting of other religious and political views, as well as lifestyles not well accepted by normative society. There are limits to our acceptance of individuals who are harming others, but all people of goodwill and good intentions are welcome with us here. We particularly have worked to be welcoming to LGBTQ individuals and try to create a safe space for them, as well as anyone questioning and searching for truth about their sexuality and attractions, as well as any religious matters. As a community and as individuals, we have worked through most of our questions about sexuality and relationships so that we are in a healthy space to welcome in those who are seeking to discern their own truths in those and other areas. We are committed to making our religious home a safe space for any who wish to join us. We readily acknowledge our imperfections and seek to grow in wisdom as we follow our own journeys. On this Coming Out Day 2020, we recommit ourselves to being a safe, healthy, and welcoming congregation. If you are looking for a religious home, we will strive to accept and support you and to include you fully in the life of our congregation, including committees, groups, studies, our board, and of course, in worship, if you decide to join us. Though our doors may be closed for COVID-19, our community is vibrant and alive, and our hearts are open to welcome you. Though these words are mine, they stand as an invitation to further discussion and completion as we each seek to learn and grow. So may it be. Amen. And now hear this invitation to come out. In these next few moments, as we sing along with our coming out hymn, "How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful?" we invite anyone who would like to come out to do so symbolically as we each reaffirm our commitment to support others as they come out. However you understand yourself, you are welcome here. Many of us are straight allies, so we come out to you in support and acceptance. Know that we are committed, even if we make mistakes of gender and pronouns. Know that we stand with you today and always. We welcome you each as you come out and as you reaffirm your outness. We wish you each well this day and every day. Amen. Join now in our coming out hymn, number 1053 from the Teal Book, "How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful?" As is our custom when we do gather in person, I invite you to virtually join hands. May this congregation always be dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there's a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together, in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity. May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts, now and forevermore. Amen.